Good afternoon and welcome back to the Football Terrace. I hope you're all having wonderful, wonderful Sundays wherever you are around the world. I know we have people over in Australia and New Zealand watching. It's pretty much, well, Sunday might even be over by now with the time difference. Some people just get out of bed over in the United States and in that part of the world. But I hope you're all doing good. Still buzzing after what was a sensational Saturday for English football. Making it to the Euro 2020 semi-finals is just colossal. So, yeah, very, very happy here indeed. Transfer news aplenty to bring to you. Of course, to continue just to give you the opportunity to have your say, to give you the opportunity to give your opinions on some of the stories that are circulating today. We are going to cover some other teams later on today, some Arsenal and Chelsea updates along the way. But I wanted to start with Manchester United because the news cycle continues to swirl around the football club, and a number of stories that really stood out to me this morning when reading the morning papers, when kind of just going through social media and assessing what was being said. Of course, I'm going to give you the news as it's being printed, it's being suggested, and give you my opinion, and also open up the lines for you to have your say. But do me a massive favor, first of all, and please hit that like button and share this stream across all your social media platforms. Ronan says 7 a.m. about to go and play Sunday morning football. My guy. Whereabouts is that? I'd love to know where that is. It's 7:30 in the morning. Where you're going to go and play Sunday morning football? Morning, Captain Sal. Hello to you as well, you mug. Love it, mate. Love it. Not bad for a little bit of banter. Alpha says Sancho was fire yesterday. Do you know what? He was very, very good indeed. I was very impressed with him as well, considering he hasn't kicked a ball in a competitive game for properly for about a month. He was absolutely brilliant, no doubt about it at all. Terry, later than my missus every month. Oi. Yeah, you've got about 8 kids, haven't you? I like that. It's not so much late. In fairness, I was interacting with Gary Neville. That's why I was a little bit late. So I apologize for that. But that's Gaza Neville, people. That's Gaza Neville we're talking about here. Gaza Neville. That's all I'm saying. Gaza Neville. But listen, lots of news to delve into here. And the first big story is Paul Pogba. I saw this posted by the United District, and they were using quotes from Santi JFM, who is a reporter out of France. I'm told fairly credible, that Mino Raiola and PSG's position on Paul Pogba has moved closer, and it is possible that he may be playing in France next season. This was then also coupled with an additional tweet from the same source again, saying PSG have gathered all the parameters for his profile. It mentions the owner and Leonardo have already engaged with Paul Pogba to present their sporting project to him, and he is interested in the idea of evolving in Paris. And obviously that's a translation, I would say, but essentially they've presented the idea. They've gone to Paul Pogba and said, we want you, we want to make you part of the fabric of PSG. We want you to be part of the team to essentially make them champions of Europe. That is what they're aiming for. Winning the league title is almost a prerequisite. I don't even think they care. It won't save a manager's job. What saves managers' jobs at PSG is winning Champions Leagues and being competitive in that tournament. So he's been offered this opportunity. The reports this morning are that it's moved closer. The reports this morning are that Paul Pogba's interested. There's no sign of any kind of pre-agreements, any personal terms being agreed at this moment in time. It feels a little bit before that. It feels a little bit, I wouldn't mind playing at Paris Saint-Germain, but I need to assess where they are, what they're trying to achieve, what their ambitions are. I think what happens with the likes of Mbappe, I think who's coming in to replace Mbappe is also going to be key. Yes, they've signed Hakimi. Yes, they've tied down Neymar to a new deal. But someone like Kylian Mbappe leaving without an adequate replacement, that takes them a step back and a step away, in my opinion, from being able to maybe win a Champions League. It's a huge piece of firepower gone. If Paul Pogba comes in, who moves out of that midfield? Is it going to be Marco Verratti, as Dean Jones revealed a few weeks ago on the Football Terrace, that maybe this is what's going to free him up? Where could he go in Europe? There's lots of things for Paul Pogba to weigh up here. Who's going to be remaining in the squad? How much they're looking to pay him? The ambition of the football club. There's no doubt about it at all. Plus, on Paul Pogba's mind right now is, what are Man United doing? Landing Raphael Varane, signing Jadon Sancho. offering him a bumper new deal, these things could change his mind. So from my point of view, I feel that this is a doable deal. I feel this is it's in for PSG. I think that Man United could definitely lose Paul Pogba to PSG. I think he's weighing up his options. I think he's genuinely considering staying at Man United, but of course he has to do his own contingency. He has to look at options away from the football club. I think it's very unlikely that Manchester United keep him at Old Trafford and let him run out his contract. I just cannot see it. I just cannot see the Glazers doing that. I think they will cash in. I think they will sell and look to move on. But at this moment in time, PSG seems to be, outside of Man United, the front runners to try and sign him. There doesn't appear to be any credible news from Real Madrid or Juve in trying to get him done. It does appear that PSG are very much set on Paul Pogba, and it's going to come down to Paul Pogba assessing what he thinks is going to be best for him and the remainder of his career, because this is the probably the last big contract for Paul Pogba. But I do want your thoughts and I do want your feelings on this news. I just want to shout out actually and say massive congratulations to Patrick Vieira, Premier League legend, who has just signed his contract and is officially the new Crystal Palace manager. So well done and congratulations to him. That is absolutely epic indeed. In some other news as well today, I do believe that Luke Shaw is now in discussions, or will start discussions very, very soon with Man United over a new deal to remain at Old Trafford as well. And he deserves it. He's turned his career around. I was someone that was very, very scathing of Luke Shaw. His fitness levels, his ability to stay injury free. I think both those things impacted his performances. But the last 18 months to 2 years under the tutelage and guidance and man management of Ollie, he's turned it around. He's become the best English left back in the Premier League. He's become one of the best left backs in Europe. And now I just want to see that continue. And a new deal is a great way to reward him. What he's done in an England shirt this tournament has been sensational. And, you know, it's the best performances I've seen from a left back in an England shirt in my lifetime. Defensively rock solid, but also on the offensive going forward, the creativity is there. Creating more chances than any other England player at the tournament so far this year. So massive congratulations to Luke Shaw for picking that up as well. Dinesh of a super chat says, afternoon, Terry. Boris should call a public holiday next week if England win the Euros. No one will be going to work on Monday. This is true. This is very, very true indeed. Ashley Cole exists. Ashley Cole is a better left back than Luke Shaw. I'm not talking about who's better. I'm talking about performances in an England shirt. England's golden generation had better players, but their performances at international tournaments have never been as good as this group we've got now. They've never been as good. It's not about who's the better player. It's about what team performs the best. I'm not. The words "he's better than Ashley Cole" never left my mouth. The same as you look at midfield. We've had Gerrard and Lampard and Scholes in our midfield. The way Rice and Phillips have performed in the majority of these games, better than any of those combinations ever performed. Are those two players better than Gerrard, Lampard, or Scholes? No. But it's the collectiveness and it's the performances I'm talking about here, not the overall ability. Do not do yourself an injustice and confuse those two things. They are literally different from one another. Performance and ability are not the same thing. I really have to stress that. Just Juve here says, just discovered you recently. Great job. Thank you very, very much indeed for that lovely compliment, my friend. There we go. This is a comment from Leon. This is all about Paul Pogba. He says, you shouldn't be going to PSG in your prime. The smart thing is to sign with United and leave in max 2 years. Get United to insert a clause, which they will do. PSG for Pogba when he is 30 plus. Yeah, I understand your train of thought on that. Like that, it makes sense what you're sort of suggesting and saying there. I think Paul Pogba is only going to stay at Manchester United if he believes we can win a league title and if he believes we can win a Champions League. I think those two things have to coexist exactly the same time. If Pogba leaves the PSG, I would take Verratti. Listen, I take Verratti at United any day of the week. And if Verratti becomes available, then it's a deal that Manchester United should explore with vigor. Because Marco Verratti is one of the best central midfielders on God's green earth. And if there's an opportunity to sign him, you're stupid to ignore it. I call it a sort of it's a game-changing signing. It's a game-changing signing that you have to certainly look at. Remember, we're going to delve into the Dan James news. He may be on his way out of Manchester United this summer, as well as focusing on Donny van der Beek, who is also reportedly set to maybe leave this summer. Do us a favor and make sure you've shared this stream and you've hit that like button and you subscribe to the Football Terrace. But I want to go through some more of your comments. Of course, we prioritize member chats and super chats where we can. Any super chat in July over the value of £5, you will go into the prize draw to win a football shirt of your choice at the end of the month. The prize draw, I'm setting the dates. I'm going to do it all together. So when the Lederhosen arrive for me to sing World in Motion, I have ordered them from Amazon Prime. They just got delayed for some reason. They should be here tomorrow. So once I get the Lederhosen, I'm going to do the John Barnes rap because we did raise that money for charity. At the same time, I'm going to do the June prize draw for someone to win their shirt. Just want to do it all. We'll have a bit of a spectacular evening and have a bit of a laugh and a joke and do it all together. One of our wonderful members here says, Pogba would leave, it seems. He seems to be a headache. Do you know what? I don't necessarily think what Paul Pogba's doing is him being a headache or him being a problem or anything along those lines. I think Paul Pogba's doing what he should be doing right now. And that is looking after his future, thinking about his family, thinking about where he wants to be that's best for him in his career. And I never blame football players for doing that because football clubs make decisions based on exactly the same mantra, exactly the same thought process every single time. It's literally every single time a club thinks about, Man United signed Sancho. Do you think they care about Dan James or Martial getting forced out if it improves the team? No. So why should a player care? They just shouldn't. There's a respectful way of doing things, but they definitely shouldn't have to care. This is a weird comment. It says, Fab said Pogba won't leave if the right price comes. That sentence doesn't make sense, even to a dyslexic man like me. Sharek here. Your mum. I see your mum messaged. She didn't DM me, everyone. His mum didn't DM me. She said, lovely message on Instagram. So big up your mum and hope she had a wonderful birthday yesterday. He says, if Pogba goes, get Camavinga on a pre-agreement in January and sign Grealish. Oh, imagine Grealish. Imagine Grealish at Manchester United Football Club. It would be sensational. Hi, yes, Maria Williams. It is coming. Ahmed here says, I don't agree with you that Man United want to sell Pogba. I didn't say Man United want to sell Pogba. We're offering him a new deal. We definitely won't want to sell him, but selling him, if he isn't going to sign a new deal, I think the Glazers will push for that to happen. And I don't think Ollie wanting him to leave on a free matters. I think the club will just say, "This look." I mean, I would want him to go because imagine building a brilliant team that Pogba is key to, and then you lose him for nothing at the end of the season. I'd rather move him on if you could find an adequate replacement. The only time you keep him is if we can't find that replacement this summer. Tweeted here says, Terry, the project at United is more exciting than the one-horse race in France. Pogba must stay. That's my feeling, but he may feel and look at it very, very different indeed. Let's move on now. I want to change the story here slightly. Imagine Verratti playing long and hopeful balls. What? Man United don't play long and hopeful balls. But anyway. Let's move on to some other news today. This will be one that will interest a lot of people. Dan James. I wanted to talk about Dan James here because Dan James it's an interesting one for me. There's a report this morning that I've come across that says that Brighton want to sign Manchester United winger Dan James. They also after Tottenham centre-back Joe Rondon as well. It says James's chances of being a regular at Old Trafford next season have taken a huge hit following the signing of Jadon Sancho. Reports claim that Graham Potter is keen to bring the two stars to Brighton in the summer in a move which would significantly bolster their side. They're both sides of the pitch, both halves of the pitch, the front and the attack. The signing of James would be a reunion of the pair because they work together at Swansea City as in the centre back and the winger. For me, I look at this, and I don't want to be disrespectful to Dan James, but I hope this rumor is true. And I hope that if a sensible offer, anything north of £15 million is made, Man United accept it. I want Amad Diallo to get more time. I want him to get more minutes. Jadon Sancho is going to dominate in that right-hand side. I'd rather give Lingard a new deal and game time over Dan James. I think the Dan James experiment is done. I never think he's going to be good enough for Manchester United. His minutes were already down to... He only played 1,500 minutes last year. If you compare that to... I was actually looking at this. I need to get the stats back up now. But I was looking at that, and then I was comparing it to his statistics from the previous years. Let me just get this up for a second here. Right. So, yeah, last year for Manchester United in all competitions, 1,521 minutes. You compare that to the previous season where it was 3,005 minutes. So half the game time last season. With Amad being here from the start of the campaign and with Jadon Sancho coming in, he's not going to get any game time. He's simply not going to get enough game time for himself. So for me, I say move him on. I say sell him, raise a little bit of money. You could easily raise 15 to 20 million pounds. Easily raise 15 to 20 million pounds. There are a number of clubs that want him, slightly lower down the pecking order. Move him on, no doubt. The other news, which I wanted to sort of touch on again today, is Real Madrid. Now, this involves a Raphael Varane situation. There is a report that they want to take Donny van de Beek on a year-long loan as part and make it a part of the Raphael Varane deal. Now, Man United have offered somewhere in the region of 40 to 45 million pounds for Raphael Varane. Real Madrid want about 10 million pounds more. There are reports suggesting that Real Madrid would, instead of getting an extra 10 million pounds, they wouldn't mind Donny van de Beek on a loan deal for a year. There's no real inclination to how much of the salary would be paid by Man United or paid by Real Madrid. For me, I can't see Man United agreeing to this. I actually think Donny van de Beek's going to have a decent season next year. 1 year further settled, a proper pre-season. Actually being able to live in Manchester, live in the UK, go out and see people, settle into his environments. He's still a very, very young man. I'd rather Man United pay the extra 10 million pounds to get the Varane deal done as opposed to weakening the squad. And that's what you would do by allowing Donny van de Beek to leave. You weaken that Manchester United squad. You weaken it massively. You really, really do. And I just pray, legitimately pray, that we as a football club don't make this mistake. Legitimately hope that we don't make this mistake by allowing Donny van de Beek to leave at this point. I really hope Ollie doesn't mess up and he ends up making this silly mistake. I really, really do hope and pray. I really do hope and pray that he doesn't do that. David here says Dan James worth a risk at 15 million, but obviously not up to the standard. Be good for an Arsenal, Brighton kind of team. Donny needs another season. He'd have adapted now and have a good preseason. Yeah, I think letting Donny van de Beek go now would be so wrong. It'd be such a big mistake. I think it would be one of them deals that Man United would look back on and regret. We're in no rush to move him on. He's 1 year into a 5-year contract. If it was the deal breaker between getting Varane and not getting Varane, that's a different conversation that we have to weigh up as a fan base. But even then, my heart says, no, you keep Donny for another year. Donny van de Beek. I want to have a look at this for a second because it's important, right? But I just realized who Dan James' agents are. Oh, I didn't realize that. Dan James has got some serious agents. It's part of the Stella Group. They are a colossal bunch, right? I want to look here. Where is the squad? Where's the squad? Where's the squad here at Man United? Right. Let's look at this squad. I need to try and get. I should have just typed Donny van der Beek's name in, to be fair, rather than doing it the way I'm doing it. It's long. Let's click on Donny van der Beek. I know he's out injured right now. I want to break down his stats for the current season. So he played last season just 1,400 minutes. I'm going to put a prediction in here now. That's going to double next season. We will see double the amount of game time out of Donny van der Beek next season, in my opinion. I truly believe that. So, and I think that will just be that growing point for him from there. So, yeah, I want to see him stay as well. NK says, yes, Pogba is leaving Manchester United. 1,000%. You guys ain't competing without a world-class player. I mean, United have a lot of top-class players and some world-class players as well. But if Paul Pogba leaves, it's not the end of Man United. I've seen this notion from so many fans. They're like, Pogba leaves, that's it. United are a finished club. It's a weird take, right? I'll tell you why it's a weird take. One, you're acting like the Glazers don't own us, so we've been halfway to being a finished club this whole time anyway. But what happens when Pogba's retired? Are we then done as well? Man United will only exist as long as Paul Pogba's playing. It's just stupidity. It's a hyperbolic comment designed for likes and attention on social media. It's a narcissistic, self-serving comment, essentially. I don't want to lose Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is one of the best players in the world. If we do lose him, the only time I'm going to be angry is if we don't replace him adequately. So if you sign a Sal Niguez, if you sign a Verratti, I'm less bothered. I want to keep Pogba, but I'm less bothered because you're replacing quality. If Pogba leaves and we replace him with somebody of McTominay's level, then we've got issues. Dan James used similar to how O'Shea was used. Yeah, I mean, O'Shea used to play more in midfield and in the wings when he first got in the United team, and he just dropped back more into a defensive role, and that's not going to happen for Dan James. I think as well, we're so stacked from an attacking point of view now, there's just no room for him at the club. Just none at all. Just none. David here says, morning, Terry. I think we can win the title if we keep Pogba, get Varane and another CM. If we have a solid back line, I think the firepower of Pogba, Bruno, Diallo, Rashford, Greenwood, Tony, Sancho, Cavani. Yeah, it's just the front line of Man United is scary. It's absolutely scary. Man like Jem says, does losing Pogba affect Man United's chances of challenging for trophies next season? I think it does if we don't replace him. If we don't replace him, then I think it does. And remember, again, key stage 1 football analysis says every player you sell, you have to replace like for like. Football's never worked that way. If Pogba left, but we went and signed one of the best holding midfield players in the world, because of the inclusion of Sancho, you now have that additional creativity moving forward. You can counteract for that. So for me, if Verratti was to come in, I know there's injury problems. If Ndidi was to come in, you'd see a huge improvement. I think you look at the way Declan Rice has played at this Euros. Like, I was really scathing of him versus Scotland, and maybe that's because I was just being a fan and being over the top and everything else. But he's been sensational. Sensational when he's a kid. He's 22. Was he 22? The ceiling's high. Different from Paul Pogba. Pogba's a better player than him, but Declan Rice is a better holding midfielder than him. In my opinion, he truly is. And we know that because Pogba fanboys don't even want Pogba playing in that role. Because he doesn't. Do you know what it is with Pogba? Pogba is so visionary. He is so creative. He is such a maverick. He doesn't want to be tied to a disciplined role. A role that requires a lot of workhorse. That isn't what Pogba is great at. He can do it, but why take away from what he's brilliant at? So if you do sell him, but you've replaced that maverick quality and creativity, say in Sancho, you've got a Mad coming through, then you don't have to replace him like for like. You can go for something different in that midfield. That's what I would look at anyway. But again, people like key stage 1 football where they go, no, it has to be the same player. I'm not happy. Which is weird because at the same time, they say there's nobody else out there like him. So how can it even be like for like? The hypocrisy amongst the negative basement dwellers is unbelievable. We're going to open up the lines now for you to phone up and for you to have your say this morning. If you want to come on and chat football, if you want to come on and talk about these transfer rumors or others that are going on in and around the world of footy ball, make sure you hit that like button for us today as well. Let's get this past 500 likes while we're live on the air, please, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very important to us that we get that done. Oh, the group chat's getting mad. Oh. Okay, interesting. Here's another update here on William Saliba. This is from Fabrizio. He says Arsenal and Olympique Marseille are in contact to complete details of William Saliba loan. Buy option will not be included and currently not even being discussed. I have to apologize, actually, yesterday morning. I don't know. I read about a buyout clause being in a loan deal. I read a number of stories that morning, and I literally took information from one deal and I attached it to another. It had nothing to do with the Saliba deal, so I apologize. I've cut that from the beginning of the video because it isn't information. And actually, a few Arsenal guys reached out to me yesterday. I said, yeah, I just literally confused two deals at the same time. So apologize for that, people. If I make a mistake on things like that, I'll always come out and say sorry. But yeah, Saliba to Olympic. Listen, I don't care if it ain't been discussed. He's leaving, by the way. He's never going to be an Arsenal player. Daniel here says Arteta is a disgrace for the Saliba treatment. Why? I'd love you to phone up and say why, though. I'd love you to tell me why that is. I'd love to understand why. I'm sharing the link for you to call in, by the way. And I'm not even having a pop at you, Daniel. I'd love to know why. I'd love to know why. Can Sancho be the new Giggs? I think Sancho has the ability to be Sancho. I think Sancho has the ability to be a star in his own name, a star in his own right. I'm not a fan of when you're having a bit of a banter, like, Shawberto Carlos or whatever, it's funny. But Jadon Sancho could become a legend in his own right. The most creative European football player of his age ever. No footballer from debut to 21 years of age in their first 3 seasons have created as many goals as Jadon Sancho in a top 4 league. I don't care about what someone did in some pony second division league in Germany or what some kid did in League 2 or what some unknown did in a lower level of Portuguese football. I'm talking top 4. England, Germany, Spain, Italy. No player's ever done what Sancho has done. So Giggs was amazing. Giggs is a legend. But Sancho can be his own legend, Twisted. He can be his own legend. And he's better than Chiesa. I said that because Safe's backstage. Ryan here says 21 in 21-22 if you get Varane signed, sealed and delivered. Ryan, I hope so, bro. I hope so. I hope Man United can deliver that. I hope we can get that over the line. I hope we can. I hope. I just don't know. Bruno, a 1-year wonder. I mean, strange, really, because he's been scoring and assisting at the rate that he's done for Man United for 3 years. But if you want to call, we'll call him a 3-year wonder. We'll call him the 3-year wonder. 144 goals and assists in 3-year wonder. That's what we'll call him. We'll call him a 3-year wonder. 3-year wonder. First on the show with me today, we're going to get Safe on to have his say. What are you saying, Safe?
Yeah, what's up, man? You're cool, yeah?
I'm very well. What's on your mind?
In my mind is, I got 3 topics I want to talk about. First of all, would you sell Marcel for Crazy? Would you swap him?
No.
Why? Because Crazy is more creative player than Marcel. He scores more goals than Marcel. Marcel is lazy. You said it in your own channel. Marcel is lazy player, didn't you? I'm not making it up.
I never said he was lazy.
You said there are some games here that he's lazy. He doesn't play well. He doesn't got that pushness in him. That's what he said.
No, I said he doesn't make enough progressive runs.
So
I never.
that means it's lazy.
No, let me educate you for a second and talk to you like you're 5 years old. That's because he said it to us, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we said that. He doesn't make those progressive runs because that's not part of his game. He doesn't have the movement in the box that Cavani has because that isn't his game. He doesn't see it. I've never attributed that to laziness. So you're the one who is hearing me say he doesn't make the right kind of runs, and you're putting 2 and 2 together and getting 37,000. Okay. I'm just stating he doesn't make the movements I want to see. I didn't call him lazy.
Okay, let me talk to you like a 1-year-old child here, yeah? Like the age of my baby, okay? How many creative goals has Marcel scored against Croatia? Compare them to and see Croatia has created. Sorry?
Say that again?
What I'm trying to say to you is if you compare Marcel, creative and scoring goals, Croatia has created and scored more goals than Marcel. That's right. Facts.
What's your point?
So my point is, yeah, Croatia is a better player than Marcel.
Yeah, but you're also missing a key fundamental here. Like, Chiesa's not getting in the Man United team over Sancho, Rashford, Cavani, and Bruno. So there's no point.
He can play on the left. He can play on the right, and he can play on the left.
Rashford, he isn't. Rashford's better.
Rashford isn't better.
He is.
No, he isn't.
He is.
Rashford is a lazy player. He doesn't play that well for Manchester United. Croatia is a better player than Rashford. That's facts. Italian players have that energy. They like German. They run like horses for 90 minutes and they don't get tired. And that's a fact. That's a fact in football.
Okay, listen, top man, thanks for coming on.
Number 2, Paul Pogba needs to go.
Oh, why does Pogba need to go? Is Pogba lazy as well?
Yes, he is. He's lazy. He's affecting the team chemistry of Manchester United. He keeps being linked to different clubs, so he needs to go. If we want Manchester United to win the league title and the Champions League, we need to sell Pogba immediately.
Is Chiesa linked to any clubs?
No.
So Chiesa is not linked to any other clubs?
Not as far as I'm aware of. No, he isn't. Pogba is always on the social media, The Sun, Daily Mail, Metro. His pictures is always on the newspaper front pages. You see Pogba is linked or Pogba.
So you're angry. Hang on a minute. You read The Sun, and that makes you angry at Paul Pogba. That says it all, mate. That says it all. Listen, Safe, thanks for coming on, mate, and having us say top man. Thank you. I like that kid. Next on the show, we're going to go to James Boateng. What are you saying, James?
Yeah, I just want to say Pogba is a good player. I'm sure we are not using him. The way we are using him, it doesn't bring balance to the midfield as we ought to use him. Because a player like Scholes could control games. Yes, Pogba he's good at playing passes and stuff, but Pogba doesn't control games. Variety does. There are a lot of players that control games, like Kevin, they control games. When you're under pressure, they will hold the ball, pass, get. Pogba is not that kind of player. You see, when Solskjaer came in, he used him as an attacking midfielder, like the number 10, and he was thriving very well because he didn't have to worry about the defensive duty. If you are playing a number 8, you are supposed to have a certain degree of defensive ability. So, in my opinion, if Pogba wants to go, we should sell him and get a player who can bring balance to the team in terms of attacking and defending, and not only attacking in that sense. You were talking about Saul Niguez. Saul Niguez is no more the Saul Niguez we used to know. I don't know. The guy had potential to be a world class. He was never world class at that time. He had the potential to be. But unfortunately, we don't know what happened, and he has gone back a little bit. So I would think we cannot get Bellingham now. I don't know. We cannot get Bellingham. But Bellingham would bring a better balance to the midfield. I don't know. They were talking about Goretzka. I don't know. And in terms of Dan James is the best defensive winger we have in our team. He's not, like, when he plays, it's not pleasing to the eye. Everybody knows that. This generation is fond of people who play the flick passes and stuff. We are used to that. But in terms of playing tactical games, Dan James suits us when we are playing teams like City, who are going to dominate the game, have more of the game. because he can defend better. Rashford is better than that James 100 times in terms of attacking play, but he's not yet there. To tell you the truth, Rashford is not yet at the level we play. He scores goals, yes, so can anybody, but he needs to hone his game. I hope he learns from Sancho. You see, when Sancho is running at players, he is able to balance like the creative aspect and the individual aspect. I don't know how to explain it, but like he has this composure.
Yeah, no, I do hear that.
To make the right decision at the right time, even though he's running at full speed. But
No,
Rashford is not like that.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, I think with Rashford, the difference is, and this is why balance is key. Rashford, I see the same. People call it poor decision making. I call it instinct. So Greenwood does the same thing. Greenwood and Rashford have the same issue, and I don't think it's an issue is in them as individuals. It's a team issue. Their first thought is, how do I score? They're goal scorers. They want to score goals. Where I think Sancho is more of a creator. KDB's in that mold of a creator. I remember listening to KDB in an interview where he just said, I just love getting it. I love creating opportunities for people. It's about getting that balance right. Man United, we're too heavily at the top. We have too many players that want to be the goal scorers and not enough players that want to be the creators. When we add that balance in, you'll see the same decision making from Greenwood and the same decision making from Marcus Rashford, but it won't protrude and stand out as much because the other players around them will be more creative and there'll be this balance in our attack. And that's where I think that people will understand and see things from the right way. You're never going to turn Rashford into a player who thinks about creating for others before trying to score for himself. But you also don't want that. You want someone. You need 3 or 4 players in your attacking roster whose first thought is, I want to score today. You see it sometimes with like with Kane. You've seen it with Ronaldo for years. Sometimes their team scores a goal and they look unhappy because they weren't the one who scored it. You need some strikers to have that attitude, bro. Great call though, and I love how you're sitting there. You set up in your chair, bro. Great look, my brother.
Thank you.
Top man. That is a good setup. That is how you call in, people. That is how you call in. Daniel here says, I'm at work, Terry, but he hasn't been given a chance. That's in relation to Saliba. I know he's not been given a chance, and I understand not everybody has faith in Mikel Arteta, but you do have to ask yourself, why hasn't he been given a chance? And maybe, just maybe, he ain't that good. Maybe. J.E. here says, Terry, how do you call in? You can call in by using... J.E. has called in. He's now in the back room. He's found the link. It's pinned up. So we'll get J.E. on very, very soon. Before him, I'm going to go to Rob to come on and have you say, Rob, what's on your mind, mate? Who do you support?
I'm a United fan day in, day out. I'm thinking, don't know what your thoughts are on this, but man, I want Calvin Phillips. Get rid of James, get him off the books, swap deal with a bit of cash, bolster up that midfield.
So say that again.
So I'm saying we get Dan James off the books, Calvin Phillips in, bit of cash, bolster up that midfield, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Mate, I would like Calvin Phillips at Man United. I was never that sold on him for it wasn't sold on him as much when he was playing for Leeds. You never quite know how he's going to do in a bigger team with higher expectations. The way he's delivered for England's been exceptional, and I think he's levels on Fred, and I think he's levels on McTominay. So if you could do a deal with Bielsa and say, I don't know, we'll pay you 25 million, 30 million plus Dan James, I'd take that every day of the week.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll see. You know, he's had a good performance so far. We need someone like him. Rice is going to be too much, but I think that's the best shout that we've got.
Yeah, in terms of the midfield, the report obviously we went live with today was around Paul Pogba, and he's deal to PSG moving closer. Are you someone who wants to see Paul Pogba stay and sign a new deal, or would you rather see him leave and we sort of recoup and rejuvenate that area of the field?
Don't get me wrong, I love Paul Pogba, but if we're going to be splashing out, 350, 400 grand a week, and, you know, what's he actually done for us, you know, over the time period? Bruno came in, instant job, instant impact. Haven't seen that from Pogba throughout. Love the player, but, you know, there's always a limit to what we can do.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And on Donny van der Beek, there are rumours that we may be letting him go out on loan. Do you think that would be a mistake from Ollie to allow Donny to leave so soon?
I think so. He needs another year at least. Look, you know, he came in during COVID. You know, it's been a difficult year for everyone. hasn't had the minutes that I thought he would have. And obviously he's had, he's been under pressure to make an impact when he has come on the pitch, which ultimately hasn't, provided those dividends. But one more year, I'd say, for sure.
No doubt. Listen, Rob, thanks for coming on and having your say.
Cheers,
Top,
mate.
top, man. Thank you, buddy. All the
Nice
best.
one, mate.
Cheers. Make sure that like button's being hit. You can call in and have your say. Remember, we are literally the only YouTube channel that every day lets its viewers call in and express their opinions on the news or football topics that are going on right now. No one else lets you do that. Next up, JE is here with us. Welcome to the terrace, mate. Who do you support?
Man United.
Top man. What's on your mind?
I was listening to that caller that said that Chiesa, United should get Chiesa. My thing is with Chiesa is, one, he's Italian. He's not trading Juventus for United at this point of his career. So let's not entertain that. Two, I understand where he's coming from, where he feels like he might be better than Rashford. He's more consistent. But let's dead that conversation. He's not coming to United. As for Pogba, the way I feel about Pogba, the only way we keep Pogba, I feel, is if Oli plays 4-3-3, similar to City, get a proper DM, and you play him on the left side of the three, Bruno on the right side of the three. And that's the only way it's going to work. This pivot, it doesn't work. The thing with Pogba, I feel like we got him from Juventus and we thought we was going to make him a centre midfielder because of the experience he'd had at Juventus. We thought, okay, the next step, obviously, he was playing on the left side with experienced players. Now let's see if he can take the next step and control games. We've never really seen him control games. People say for PSG, for France, I don't think Pogba controls games for France. I think he puts in good performances, but like my man said before, on the defensive side, he doesn't do enough. And that's why you need a Kante. I think we've been this narrative about he needs a DM. He needs to work himself, as far as I'm concerned. Like, we can't keep supporting him with a Kante and Ndidi. He needs to work himself. But if we are going to make it work, we need a Ndidi or a Kante, and we need to play a flat three, like I said, like he used to play at Juventus, with a proper DM, him on the left, Bruno on the right. Does that make sense? Otherwise, I don't see it working.
I agree. I think if Pogba stays, I agree with you. I think if Paul Pogba stays, Man United need to move away from 4-2-3-1. I think it just doesn't work. And he done well in those kind of wide positions at times last season, but even then, I would go 4-3-3 if we're going to keep Pogba. Now, if we let Pogba go, maybe then we look at a quality holding midfielder that can play in that double pivot, and we almost create sort of a bit like England are doing right now, a little bit like Chelsea did last season, where they just had that double pivot or twin sixes that were very good on the ball, very disciplined defensively, shield their back four, and then just feed that ball into the front four. I'm happy with either. I just see with Pogba, if we are going to sign Pogba to a 350, 400 grand a week deal, you have to build a system that gets the best out of him. There's no point spending that on him, shoehorning him into positions at Man United that have never been his best. I feel it's either you go for it properly 4-3-3 or you let him move on. I find it weird to do that and then just stick him back in the double pivot and try and suppress him a little bit, which it just isn't his best game. Like, you're right, by the way. If Pogba's in that role, he has to be disciplined. But it just isn't his game. It isn't what he enjoys doing. And you know what it's like in life when you're made to do something you don't really enjoy it, you let up a bit.
Yeah, sorry, my connection's a bit mad. United have never been a 4-2-3-1 team. Do you remember the days when we used to play three? Anderson, Carrick, Scholes, Anderson, Carrick, Hargreaves. It always was a 4-3-3 that could change it to a 4-4-2. Does that make sense? Yeah. It was never This 4-2-3-1 is not United. It never has been. I think it came in when David Moist David Moist came in. I think that's when we started playing it, but it just don't make sense. 4-3-3 or I don't know. But that's the only formation I think we should be playing. Let everyone in that three midfield work. Simple. That's it. Everyone does a bit of everything. But you have your anchor man, the DM, whether it was like a Carrick, in the form of Carrick or in the form of Makalele, then the ones on the left and the ones on the right, let them work. Because we see Bruno has a hard work rate. He runs, yeah? And he runs a bit too much for someone that plays the number 10. Does that make sense? So play him on the right side. of the three. Play Pogba on the left side of the three. You support the left winger and the left back. The right midfielder supports the right winger, the right back, and the left back, the left winger. Does that make sense? That way it's balanced.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
And the thing with the 4-3-3, I know a lot of people say, take away from Bruno's goals and assists. Not really, because against the majority of teams, they play low block against us anyway. So you'll find that Bruno will spend the majority of his time in those number 10 roles anyway. And even though he plays as a 10, Bruno, if you look at his heat map, he drifts out to that right-hand side of the 10 position the majority of the time anyway. Like starting positions in again, I call it key stage 1 analysis. Starting positions are so basic bitch football, I call it. Players drift, they have tendencies. Werner for Leipzig always started centrally, but loves to drift out wide. He doesn't stay central. People go, see, he's a winger. No, okay, well, if you want to call him that, then call him that. But his starting position is central, and he drifts. And it's about your team then utilizing that. You know, if you've got a central striker that drifts out right to the left, you need the person on the left cut inside. If they both hug that left-hand side, you've got a hole and you're crowded somewhere. It's about balance. And I think with Man United, that's what I'm hoping the signing of Jadon Sancho gives us now is more balance in our attack. And I could imagine Bruno and Sancho on the right, Rashford and Pogba on the left when we're attacking. It's formidable. It's formidable.
That's exactly simple. And you said it. Listen, Man City don't play a pivot. Yeah, they play 4-3-3. How many assists has Kevin De Bruyne got since he came to City? Tell me.
Untold.
Exactly. So all this number 10, it just makes it easier to defend against us. Oh, mark out Bruno. Now play him on the right-hand side. Let them drift, like you said. Everyone do a bit of everything. Simple. It's the easiest balance. It makes sense, but we'll see.
Mate, I totally agree. Listen, bro, top man. Thanks for coming on, having your say, JE.
Nice,
Speak to you again soon. No worries, mate. Great opinions there, my guy. Make sure that like button is being hit this morning and you've shared this stream on your social media platforms. We're talking Paul Pogba to PSG. Reports from France say that it's moved closer. Donny van der Beek could be on his way to Real Madrid. And Dan James could be out of Manchester United. We will talk other transfers if you want to call in and speak about them as well. Next on the show, we're going to go to Josh all the way from Australia. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Just want to say congrats to England. I would say it's coming home, but I'm Australian, so I'll say it's going home. I back England now to go all the way. I think we'll probably face off in Italy, but anyway, that's by the by. Just a little opinion piece on Pogba to PSG, if you got a minute. I'm thinking when it comes to a move, I think he's at the end of his time. I think he's just, he's been promised the world. It wasn't delivered, and why would he sit there and go, okay, I want to have another couple of years here to see if we can make it? Where when I look at the options available to Pogba, Juventus, Real Madrid, PSG, out of those three, I think PSG, the way their transfer window is looking, they would be more likely to win a Champions League in the next couple of years than even us or Real Madrid. I mean, Madrid have got all their financial issues. We don't know what our ceiling's going to be, and I mean, he might miss home. We don't know the reasons. We don't know if he does want to go or not. If this is true, I think that's a good footballing decision for him to go to a team they're building out a team to take out that Champions League, no doubt. I think the league thing, he'd obviously want to have a league title on a respectable league. Not that League One isn't, but I think being a one-horse race, I think that sort of plays second fiddle to him wanting to get a European trophy. I mean, he's got a World Cup, he's got a Euro, and no, not a Euro. Anyway, yeah. So he's got his World Cup with France. He's got a Europa League. Going to a team that is stacked out and looking very formidable next year. I put PSG high up there if they continue this window. I think that just makes football sense for Pogba. Yeah.
No, listen, I totally get it. I sort of feel like I understand why we'd want to go there, and I understand why we'd want to leave. I actually understand why we'd want to leave Manchester United at this point as well. It all makes sense. My only ask is that Man United replace him if he leaves with a top class midfielder of some capacity, and not even a lot of people saying like get Cannavanga. It's too young. I want Pogba replaced with someone who's 23, 24, 25 or already established at the highest level. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Josh, I appreciate your call, mate, and of course your support for England. We'll chat again.
Thank you.
Top man, thank you for coming on. Bruno does nothing defensively. He just stands there. I've seen it hundreds of times. Worst work rate ever. He only cares about attacking. Should we put that to the test? Should we put this to the test, ladies and gentlemen? Do we put it to the test? How do we put this to the test? So who are we going to compare it to? Let's compare. Let's throw some names in here. I say we compare it to KDB because he's the best. Who else are we comparing it to? I need some names here, people. Who else are we comparing it to? It does nothing defensively. Grealish. Okay, we'll compare it. Grealish is a great one. We'll throw Grealish's name into the hat here as well. Give me two more names. Two more names. Who are we going to compare it to? That he does not actually more so yourself. You need to tell us, Joe, who definitely does more, who plays in the same position as him, and that's who we'll pick. And then we'll do the comparison, and we'll check opinions with facts. We're going to check opinions with facts now. It's the fact checker on the Football Terriers. Here we go. No, not Firmino. Never. Mount's great because Mount's attacking. You can't check it with a defensive midfielder because imagine being shocked that a defensive midfielder does more defending than a non-defensive defender, a non-defending defender. I think we'll go with Mount. I think Mount's pretty good, but I'll see if Joey throws in anything different. What's Joey got to say here? Mount is a good one. We'll go with Mason Mount. So I'm getting this all up now. I'm getting all the man up. We're getting Mount. We're getting Jacques Grealish. Where's Grealish? Come on, Grealish. Load up. We've got Jackie Grealish now, and then we're going to go and get ourselves a little bit of Mason Mount. I'm just in Chelsea's team now. Where's Mount's? Where's his little head? Where's his little face? So many players in this squad. Where's Mount? Why can't I see Mount anywhere? Sometimes I use really old pictures on this, and it's hard to tell. I've forgotten with a forward. That's why. Right. So we're going to go into stats, and we're going to go into defensive stats. Defensive. I'm going on all of them. I'm turning them all on now. Thing with Y-Scout, it does take a little bit of time, right? It's not the best comparison tool, as in like speed. It's not great for speed, but it is a good tool. Right. So I don't have Joey's come back in and said anything. Let's look at this now. So let's look at this now. It doesn't do anything, right? Let's have a little look. So defensive duels per game. So Pogba completes 6 per game and wins 54% of them. KDB, 5 per game, wins 50%. Grealish, 3.9 per game, wins 53%. Mason Mount, exactly the same as Bruno, 6 per game, but he does win 57%. So he wins 3% more. Right. We'll go on to interceptions per game. Mason Mount, 2.2. Grealish, 2.1. KDB, 2.4. Bruno, 2.6. 2.6 for Bruno. Bruno's leading the way there. Right, let's go to another recoveries. Recovering the ball per game. Mount, 4.4. Grealish, 4.5. Bruno, 5 times per game. Sorry, no. KDB 5 times per game. Bruno 4.3. All pretty much the same, but KDB wins that one. Slide tackle success. 50% success for Mount, but he barely attempts them. He's attempted 20 in his whole career. 0.08 attempts per game, but 50% won. Okay. 0.5 attempts per game for Grealish, wins 50%. 0.2% per game for KDB, wins 41%. Bruno Fernandes, 0.3 per game, wins 40%, but pretty much there. Challenging for loose balls. 3.8 times per game for Mount. 2.9 for Grealish. 1.3 for KDB. And 3.9 for Bruno Fernandes. Listen, like I said before, facts don't lie. So he may not appear to. Distance covered per game. I don't know where that stat's gone. that one is. Hang on. Let's have a look here. Wow. Bruno Fernandes leading them by 1.1 kilometers on average per game as well. I don't know what to say, Joey. If the drugs don't work, they just make you worse. And I know I'll see your face again. Keep off them, bro. Keep off them. I'm only messing, Joey. I know you're a long time viewer, but it's just not true. It's what I love about what do you know what's funny, right? I saw people, I got like DM'd. I don't know who this account was. It was a Man United account, and it was showing really good statistics from Fred passing the ball forward. Basically saying like, so I got people saying McTominay could never, McTominay holds him back, blah, 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 blah. And I was sort of like, I don't get it. I sort of don't get it. I thought stats didn't matter, but they do matter. And when you're not, when you're not in a, here it is, it's from the United corner. It was at the Copa America, Fred has made the most passes into the final third, 23, the most progressive passes, 23, the most attempted tackles of 10, and the most successful tackles of 8. That's good. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, I am more intrigued to see the succession rate of those passes and tackles and everything else. I'm not having a go, but still, stats matter. Next on the show, Fixer is here with me. Fixer, welcome back to the terrace, mate. What do you want to say?
Hey, what's up, big man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm better than Joey anyway.
Yo, I gotta say, man, all these guys talking crap about Bruno Fernandes, like, what the hell, man? Like, God literally gave us one of the best performers here to come to our club in like 8 years, and people are putting dirt on this guy's name. Like, what do you want him to do? This guy has literally turned our fortunes around. And anybody putting dirt on Bruno Fernandes' name needs to just take a really hard look at themselves in the mirror and find out what exactly it is that's bugging you. Why don't you like this bro? Like, he is a very good player, and that's why I live it. But anyway, yeah, I'm calling because of Pogba, you know.
Yes.
Terry, I gotta say, man. See, everybody thinks I'm a Pogba hater and all that shit. But the fact of the matter is, I love the guy, yeah. See, when I play FIFA, yeah, I always play him. I always like make sure he's like in my team and all that stuff. Like, I like him as an individual, as a character, as a symbol, whatever. But the fact of the matter remains that when it comes to Manchester United, he just doesn't pull his weight enough. And it's sad to see. And I'm not really happy about it, but I think we should just have to let Pogba go. PSG is perfect destination for him. He can go be with his mates. You know, there's not a lot of pressure. He can do all his, you know, flamboyant stuff and get away with it. You know, I don't see what the negative is to that deal, because we're not missing anything. He's been here 5 years and he hasn't really done that much. You know, let's just be honest about it. You know, it is what it is. He's a good player, but I think what the problem is, he's just not suited to the Premiership. There's a lot of world-class players that have been to the Premiership that just can't hack it. It's just one of those things, you know, like the Di Marias, Memphis Depay. A lot of good players have come around, but you just can't hack it, and he's just one of them. It is what it is. That's all it is.
Look, I kind of feel like I hear where you're coming from. I do. I sort of feel like my mind with Pogba is I love him and I think he's brilliant. I go back to what I said to JE when he called up. I think if Man United are now to give him this new deal, we need to put him in. We need a system that gets the very best out of him. I don't think a double pivot in the Premier League does that. I don't care what he does for France, because it's, you know, international football is a slower pace. We all know this. International football is played at a slower pace than the Premier League.
Thank you for saying that, Terry. Thank you so much.
And it's true, and it's absolutely true. And you hear, it isn't even like some Johnny Englander in a pub who says it. You're talking about countless pros from multiple nationalities. I don't even necessarily think the Premier League is always been the best technically. It's always been the most ferocious, the most physical, and the fastest.
Competitive.
Yeah, and the reason we know this is based on the fact that when so many of the, like, you ask the Thierry Henrys of this world and they're like, is there a difference? And like, yeah, it's faster, more physical, it's harder. But international football is played at a slower pace, and it's different. And it's why, by the way, Italy have been so amazing at this tournament. They're playing what I call Premier League pace, the way they're pressing and moving. That's why the game against England is going to be. It's why England always struggled. Another reason we struggled at tournaments is we never learnt to play in a slower speed. Everything was right. 1-2 passes, just try and score a goal. Strong. They would get the ball back off of us, and then they would tire us out by passing the ball and just being patient and moving it slowly. We were awful at that as a nation. And I just think that all of that plays a part in this. I would love to see Paul Pogba stay. I'd love to see Paul Pogba be at the club, but that's only if Ollie's going to change the system. And if Ollie isn't going to change the system and he is going to stick with 4-2-3-1, if he is sticking with that, then I say cash in and bring in a player that's going to do a better job in that position, because I'm Man United over Paul Pogba. I'm Man United over Rashford. I'm Man United over Bruno every single day of the week. But I'll be fair to the players and say there's no point sticking him on 400 grand a week to play him in a position that's not his best, because you're never going to get the very best out of Paul Pogba, in my opinion. What did you make of the news around Donny van der Beek? Would you like to see Donny van der Beek leave or stay?
To be honest with you, yeah, if I was Donny van der Beek, I would leave, because the disrespect he got last season was just ridiculous. I mean, to be like, to have that kind of talent and be just left on the bench to rot, coming on for like 2 minutes a match, 5 minutes, it's a bit disgraceful. I personally don't want him to leave, but my fear is if he stays, we're already getting Sancho, we're getting new players in. Let's talk about, let's talk about keeping Pogba. I mean, what is the future for Van der Beek? I mean, what is the future? He was here. We had Pogba, who wasn't really playing that well, and he still couldn't get games. We're playing McTominay, McFred, even though they were kind of shit, and he just couldn't get in. I think Amad Diallo even got almost similar minutes to games as him, and this guy is a semi-finalist. I mean, it's just a bit sad. I would like him to go because, I wouldn't risk my career with Solskjaer in charge. But being selfish, I think, he might as well stay because I like him. He's a nice guy. I have faith in him. I know he's a good player. It just isn't getting any chance. And I'm just hoping that if he stays and Solskjaer flops, Solskjaer gets, sacked, and a new manager comes in and he realizes the talent he has and he makes the most of Van der Beek. But as long as Solskjaer is there, I don't think it's going to end well for Van der Beek, unfortunately.
There we go. Fixer, thank you very much for coming on the show and having your say, mate. Really appreciate it. Top man. Thank you. Check stats, Euros faster than normal Premier League. What is that? What do you mean? When you say faster, what do you mean? What stats prove that? And I'm interested to see. As in sprinting, because that's not what people mean by faster. It's the tempo of games that are being spoken about. So maybe the tempos are fast. If you can show us that, then let's have a little look. Let's have a little look. I always like to, if there's a fact that proves it to be wrong, then let me know. Tiago said the Premier League doesn't even stop for frozen corners. Yeah, again, I'm going anecdotally based on what so many top players that have come here have said. That's all I'm going by. If there's a stat that proves it to be wrong, I'd love to see what it is and understand the statistic. But there we go. That's very weird. There we go. There we go. Sorry. Anyway, let's continue to look at some of these comments. Let's go to some more comments here. Next on the show, Matt's with us. Matt's a Man United fan. What are you saying, Matt?
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Look, I'm going to talk about Pogba and Van der Beek because I think they're two pivotal players in United's next transfers. I think the sale of either of them is what's going to facilitate us finding a better defensive midfielder. I think United are looking for a defensive midfielder, but maybe you're looking at your Harry Winkses, the likes of those kind of players. If you don't sell them, but Pogba, if we're selling Pogba, there's an opportunity here to find a real talent in defensive midfield. I'm not necessarily saying Declan Rice. I think United have sort of, I think they've come to their end of their ideas of Declan Rice, because I don't think West Ham are going to move. He's got 3 years left on his deal. It's a very difficult deal to do with West Ham. Especially when they see it as he's the future, he is the captain, he's the future of their club. So I think you got to look around. I think have got or have been looking around for a player with a ceiling similar to Declan Rice for maybe half the price. 50 million is probably that kind of budget, because they're West Ham are quoting 100 million. But United have got the opportunity to do it with selling Pogba, and Pogba would probably flourish at PSG. They'll play more advanced because they've got no real playmaker in their 4-2-3-1. So again, they've got the opportunity, and with Van der Beek, I think he'll stay. I think he'll get more game time. I don't see him leaving. I don't see the opportunity for him to leave, because getting rid of him, you lose that depth. And we go back to United 2 years ago when we didn't have Van der Beek, and when Pogba was injured and McTominay was injured, we were left with Fred and Matic, and we had no one else. We had to bring in James Garner for for 3 or 4 games, and that was. It wasn't an issue at the time because we were only playing Europa League football, but it was having Van der Beek there adds so much more quality because you can bring on someone and he can show for, you know, I think, yeah, again, he'd be much more important, but United have to find that defensive midfielder with a ceiling that is going to, you know, take him places that is probably well established. I think like a Brozovic at Inter Milan, he's looking like he could be moving. He's not got a ceiling of Declan Rice, but he fulfills a role, and that's sort of your lower end. You know, that's who you should be looking at. The very bare minimum is a Brozovic. He's well experienced. You know, he's solid defensively. He can run a midfield. That's the kind of player United should be looking at bare minimum. And there's plenty of players available.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. As you say, there are lots available. There are so many players out there that United could look to go and get. This notion of if we lose X, we're finished, we're over, like life's done with.
You're not even looking at like the Egyptian Premier League for players. That's something, you know, if they actually listen to their scouts and they say, yeah, this player is the next big thing. I mean, I'm not saying the Egyptian Premier League is the same standard as the Premier League, but if they found a player who they believe can be the next big thing, why not take a punt on it for 10, 15 million? You know, if you could, if that's, you know, the standard of player you're looking for. But United have got the opportunity to look around a bit, I think, because Fred and McTominay don't work as a pairing in the midfield, but they do facilitate the role just about. Not to the standard that United need, but if you find a 10, 15 million, say, defensive midfielder that knows what they want to do, they're a defensive midfielder by trade. They look to shield the ball, shield the foot back four, and pass the ball forwards, like a Jorginho or someone like that. And you think that, yeah, they're the next big thing. We'll go and take a punt on him. It doesn't work for 10, 15 million. You know that it's the wrong move, but you're not overextending it. Or again, you could look at like a Brozovic, who's a well-established player who can run a midfield and can take you places. It's just so many opportunities for United. And with Varane, it's not been really covered very much, but I saw a report saying that Carlo Ancelotti wants a new right back and Diogo Dalot was on his shortlist. Now, instead of doing a Van der Beek loan to get the 10, 15 million over, why not just offer them the Diogo Dalot? If they want Diogo Dalot, I think United can find a right back of quality to help them. So, you know, there's plenty of options.
I hear you on that, and as you say, there most certainly is the options out there, and I think people just need to be a bit more relaxed about it. Matt, great call as ever. Top man. Thank you for coming on and having your say. Everybody that's tuned in this afternoon, a massive thank you to all of you. We're back later on today with more news coming through. We have just had a super chat come through as well. It says Bruno can't defend. Joey, my guy. There we go. Joey's back. Joey's back, people. Big respect though, my guy. Everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And